Man, Kane's family. To be honest with you, I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. Um, I definitely wasn't overconfident, but I did not see that coming. I expected us to win that game by two or maybe three scores. There's a lot to talk about, plenty to talk about. So the first thing I'm going to cover is our quarterback and what happened there. The second thing we'll talk about is coaching. Then we'll talk about just the season outlook because I know a whole lot of folks are probably panicking about to jump off the nearest bridge. uh, I want to discuss the running game as well. I want to discuss our pass rush. There's plenty of things to talk about, so I'm gonna get to all that stuff. If you've been to any of these post game reactions, typically what I do is have a couple of topics at the beginning, and then I'll go through and talk about the notes that I jotted down, typed out, whatever you want to call it, throughout the game. So first, let's talk about the quarterback. Okay, Carson Beck was 25 for 35, 271 yards, and four interceptions with zero touchdowns. All right. So there's a whole lot of folks that was saying I was crazy and I was too negative because I was saying I did not know which Carson Beck was the real Carson Beck. And I talked about what I call a prove it year. I said a couple of years ago, Carson Beck came out and lit the world up. We didn't know who he was. He jumped on the scene and had an excellent season. The year after that, he just didn't look very good. He threw a bunch of interceptions, and people was like, well, his offensive line wasn't really good. His receivers weren't very good. His receivers dropped too many passes. And I said, sure, his receivers dropped a lot of passes, but he's the one who threw those interceptions. I don't care what you say. He threw those interceptions. Now, let me clarify this real quick. This game does not make Carson Beck a bad quarterback. I'm telling you, he's not a bad quarterback. But it proves my point that I've been saying all year and last year through the offseason, all of that. Carson Beck is more like a game manager. He reminds me a lot of Purdy, who plays for the 49ers. He's not a game changing quarterback like a lot of you all thought he was, like a lot of people thought he was, like people in the media keep saying he is. He is not Patrick Mahomes. Somebody you can put on anybody's team and their offense is pretty good or really good. He's not like Josh Allen. He's not these kind of game changing quarterbacks. He is a game managing quarterback. He's a guy that you got to get the run game going. And once the run game gets going, then you can do some play actions and he can hit some open guys down the field. That's just who he is. That does not make him I know a lot of y'all gonna say, oh, he's trash. He sucks. I believe what God tells you in the light should also be true in the dark. I've been telling y'all this is not a bad quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. He's not a game changer. This is what he is. If he's Brock Purdy, that means if you give him a clean pocket and clean receivers, he's gonna hit them. But if he tries to do too much, if you try to turn him into Patrick Mahomes, where you're saying, hey man, bail us out, this is what you're gonna get: four interceptions. This entire season so far, y'all have heard me say, my only concern is what happens when a defense says your running game is not going to beat me. I'm going to make Carson Beck's arm beat me. I've been saying that the entire season since game one. I've been saying that. Since we beat Notre Dame, I've been saying that. And then it looked really shaky against Florida. It looked really shaky against Florida State. And today, the wheels just fell off. We had a total of 63 yards running on 24 carries. They just said, you're not going to beat us running the ball. You have to throw it. And unfortunately, unfortunately for us, our guy threw four interceptions. Once again, this is a game manager, and that's not a bad thing. I know a lot of folks say, oh, you trash him. That's not a bad thing. It just means if you can get your running game going, if you can get some screen passes going, if you can get the defense a little bit off balance, Carson Beck can pick you apart because he is pretty accurate. But in this game, especially in that third quarter, he started, as we say, started seeing ghosts. He started feeling people around him that wasn't there, throwing the ball out of bounds when he wasn't no need to. The offensive coordinator, offensive dimples, off OC Dimples. I'm not even mad at him. It seemed like he was calling plays today, compare like similarly to what he did when he was coaching Tyler Van Dyke, like that from like the third quarter all the way until mid fourth quarter. He was calling plays as if he was saying, "Man, I can't let this quarterback beat us. I just need to call some safe plays. I'm gonna have Malachi Tony throw the ball before I have Carson Beck throw the ball." That's just where he was, man. And I'm not mad at him because if you're an offensive coordinator, the one thing you got to say is, my defense is still playing pretty well. The last thing I can do is go out here and have my quarterback, who looks really shaky right now, throwing the ball 15 yards down the field when he clearly isn't comfortable. Um, One of the things I do want to mention with the Carson Beck interceptions, the first two did not bother me at all, mainly because I felt like he was just taking a shot and he shouldn't have taken a shot, but he just took a shot. He didn't get fooled. He was just getting greedy. That's what I looked at. I was like, okay, he doesn't look shaky. He just got a little greedy on that play. So I wasn't really upset with those. The next two, I'm like, oh, my man is falling apart. Um, I've talked about that before too. And this is back when Jordan Travis was playing. I came up with this term, this phrase that says fall apart interceptions. When you just throw an interception like, oh, the wheels then came off. It looked like Miller Moss was actually getting to that point. But whenever you throw one interception, it's like, okay, not that big a deal. Then you throw another one, okay, not that big a deal. And next thing you know, your quarterback is throwing the ball right into the chest of the defense of the linebacker sitting in the middle of the zone. It's like, oh, falling apart. And his wheels is falling off. He's done. He's done. And Carson Beck, he threw one pass and it got batted down in the third quarter. If that pass didn't get batted down, it was a linebacker sitting there ready to catch an interception easily. So my prayer was like, okay, let's let Carson Beck get through this game somehow with a miraculous win. And then we can go and beat the piss out of Stanford, get his confidence back up and going. We can get JoJo Trader on the field and get his confidence going, and we'll be solid the rest of this year. That was my hope, my prayer. But obviously that didn't happen. Um, Tough loss, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Really tough loss. Let's talk about the coaching real quick. I'll get off of Carson Beck. But again, I still do not think Carson Beck is a bad quarterback. I'm not going to trash him because he threw four interceptions. But I seriously believe he is, what's his name, Alex Smith? Yeah, Alex Smith. That's who he is. He's Alex Smith, man. He's not going to win you a game, but most of the time he shouldn't lose you a game either because you just play it as a game manager. Um, yeah, there he is right there. Alex Smith. That's exactly who Carson Beck is. He is Alex Smith. Just give him a bunch of dump downs. Don't ask him to throw the ball 15 yards on the field unless it's over the top, but don't have him throwing between linebackers and corners and all that. Don't get too cute. If you do that, typically he can make it happen for you. In this game, that last interception, oh my gosh, that was crazy. Oh, that was crazy. Okay, let's talk about coaching. Y'all know I love Mario, but this one, he just plainly got out coached. Plainly. If the Louisville coach, because he's got a knack for upsetting highly ranked teams, it's just what he does. If he would call games like he did today against Virginia or other non-ranked teams, maybe they would win something. Like maybe they would go to the turn. Maybe they would go to the playoffs and something like that. Because the dude, like, he emptied his whole treasure chest today. That fool started off the game with three quarterbacks on the field and shotgun with players running all over. I don't know what he was calling, but I tell you what, I watched Louisville play against Virginia multiple times. He was doing none of that. This guy that I saw today, or this team, looked nothing like the team I saw against Virginia. Nothing like them. The offense looked totally different. Everything looked different about them today. Like the commentator said, Isaac Brown is running hard today. I'm like, who is this dude? Like I watched them play against Virginia and almost fell asleep both times I watched it because they looked boring. Both teams looked boring. They didn't do any kind of fancy trick plays, no misdirection, no nothing. And today they're coming out with 3 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. If he would call plays and would address his team like this every week, they would never lose. I don't know what he just mails it in against the other teams, I guess. I don't know. But that first drive was impressive. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so let's talk about the coaching from our perspective. One of the things that I have been terrified about this season is a sleepwalking Miami Hurricanes team. And we have not seen that this year. We typically start off pretty quickly and just jump all over folks. And I thought we were going to do that today. And then I thought they would have Miller Moss back there throwing the ball over and over and over, throwing interceptions, and we just run away with it. But they jumped out 14-0 on us because we were out there sleepwalking. Like, it seemed like they just weren't paying attention, offense and defense. Neither side of it seemed like they were really into the game. And then once their backs got on the wall, it was like, okay, we better hurry up and flip that switch. Unfortunately, that switch didn't do anything for him today. So one of the reasons why I wanted to discuss coaching and why I said that our coach got outcoached this time, which I'm still a Mario fan, but it's plain that he got outcoached today. Louisville's coach, he made an excellent tactical decision, and I'm hoping that y'all noticed it. He said, okay, Miami's defensive line, they do play excellent against a drop back quarterback, and that's what we have in Miller Moss. He's a drop back quarterback. He's not mobile. So all he did is nothing but quick passes the entire game. He just got the ball out of his hands as quickly as he possibly could. And it basically erased our front four. It erased them from the game. The commentators saying, where's Bain? Where's Mesidor? Hell, that's where they were. They couldn't get to the quarterback because the ball was out of his hands in like 1.5 seconds. It was out of his hands. Towards like the middle of the third quarter, I saw Bain a couple of times not even attempt to rush on the outside to get the quarterback. He was tired. And he was tired mainly because he's like, why am I even rushing this quarterback when I don't even have time to hardly get out of my stance before he done passed the ball somewhere? So the entire first half, I'm thinking, if they throwing the ball so quick, why don't we press their receivers and force them to have to get open? Like press the receivers and have a couple of deep safeties just in case they throw it over the top. I don't know why we didn't ever do that, but it seemed like the game was begging for us to do that. Everything they did was just a quick throw. It was get the ball, boom, throw. Get the ball, screen, throw. Get the ball, handoff. Get the ball. Like it was all quick. Little shallow crossing routes, quick slants. That's all they did the entire game. So I don't know why we didn't press man coverage. I don't know why we didn't do that. I don't know. What does the season look like going forward? I hate the fact that we lost to Louisville because I always view Louisville as the Charlie Strong, Teddy Bridgewater game because I just hate the fact that Teddy Bridgewater went to Louisville instead of the U. I was so pissed off about that. So every time we play Louisville, I just want to kill them. But I hate the fact that we lost to them. But y'all, we're 5-1. We were ranked number 2. Louisville's a good team, so we'll probably go down to number 9, I'm thinking. Number 8 or number 9. I know a lot of y'all think we'll free fall, but I think the ranking committee is going to view Louisville as a really good team and probably have them jump in at like 21 or maybe number 19, somewhere in there. So they know that we lost to a good team and we lost on a Friday, which is a weird day. They also know that our quarterback threw 4 interceptions and we only lost by 3 points. So I don't see them having us go from 2 all the way to 13 or something crazy. I think the worst it will be is somewhere like probably number 8. We continue to put wins together. We should get an at-large bid as far as getting into the playoffs. We should be fine with that. My serious concern, though, y'all, is getting into this ACC championship. I don't know what that's going to look like. As far as the rest of our schedule goes, we don't have a crazy schedule left. Like I said, we're going to go beat the hell out of Stanford next week. And then we play Pitt this year. We play Virginia Tech, I believe. So our schedule isn't crazy. We should run the table on the rest of the season. But the ACC is so weird. There's so many teams in it. And there's so many teams that aren't going to play each other that there's probably going to be a few teams, like maybe 3 or 4 teams with only one loss in the ACC. I don't see Louisville losing another game. I wonder, I'm going to look to see what their schedule looks like for the rest of the season. It's hard to imagine Louisville losing another game. Virginia is already out. Georgia Tech is out there. Like they play Boston College, Virginia Tech, Cal. They play Clemson, which is a potential loss. And then they play SMU. I can't really see them losing any of those games, man. Like Clemson, maybe because Clemson can get up for these type of games. Um, yeah, man, and it's at home against Clemson. SMU might upset them. It's hard for me to imagine Louisville losing a game. Like you got, if you just look at the conference, you got Georgia Tech, Virginia, Duke. They're all undefeated. We need all of those teams to lose a game, and then we need Louisville, since they have the tiebreaker on us. We need them to lose one more because they got the tiebreaker. We got one loss. So the I know this sounds weird, but I have more concern and doubt about us making the ACC championship game than I do about us making the playoffs, which is nuts. I don't know what they can possibly do about the ACC, but they got to do something because, like, if you just look at it, Georgia Tech is undefeated. Virginia's undefeated. Duke is undefeated. And SMU is undefeated. I believe we'll take care of SMU. I believe we play Duke too, right? We do play Duke. So we play against Duke. Let me double check that. But man, um, no, we don't play against Duke. I don't know how we're gonna get into the. I don't know how we're gonna get into the championship, y'all. The ACC championship. I just Georgia Tech doesn't really play anybody. Virginia doesn't play. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I have to do some more research and looking into who plays who. But I do know like some of these top teams, they just don't play each other. So a lot of these folks are probably going to end up getting out of here without a loss in the ACT. Maybe a couple of them. Because look, if you just look at Georgia Tech, the only team that they've got left, they do play Duke, which is nice. So Duke will get a loss there probably. Pitt will get another loss there. And I don't know, man. We controlled our own destiny by just running through the conference, which we should have. This was our last true test, if you ask me, and we tricked it. Bottom line, we tricked it off. So we'll just have to see if we get some help, see if all these other teams can get at least one loss in conference, and then if these fools that just beat us, if they can get one more loss. But anyway, that's the outlook on the season. I believe with all my heart that we'll end up getting to the playoffs, but I'm kind of doubtful that we'll get to the ACC championship game. It's just where I'm at. Let's talk about the run game. We have to do something, and I've talked about this before, so don't say, oh, you just changed. Like, no, I've talked about this before. We have to do something with our run game that is not directly between, like, not even just between the tackles, but directly up the middle. It seems like 90% of our plays when we're running the ball, no, 95% of our running plays is just right up the gut behind the center. We got to do something to keep this defense honest. We have to do more jet sweeps. We got to just keep people honest. Like we got to do something where we're stretching the field and making people consider that we might be running outside the tackles sometimes. Because we either run it right up the middle or we throw a screen pass. That's the only things that we're doing as far as a run play, because I consider screen pass as kind of a run play. But that's all that we're doing. We're never like stretching Jordan Lyle out and having him run outside the tackles. We're never doing any of that. It's just hand the ball right up the middle, and it just turns into a rugby scrum. So we got to do something with that when it comes to the run game. The passing game, during today's game, I know this sounds weird, y'all, but I honestly felt like we could get just about whatever we wanted to in that pass game. We just panicked a bunch of times, or we just made a dumb play and got a penalty. But the first half specifically, I'm watching the game and I'm like, we only have a few points. Well, we have 10 points at halftime, I think. But I'm like, it feels like we should have 24. It feels like we should have gotten whatever we wanted because Carson Beck was pretty comfortable in the first half. Our receivers were getting open in the first half, and Carson Beck missed a couple of them. But I don't know, man. The run game look. I think the defense looked just fine. Our defense, I think it looked just fine today. But our run game looked really. I just didn't love it. In our pass game, it looked like we should have been able to do whatever we wanted to in the passing game, but our quarterback was just a little bit shaky, a lot of bit shaky, and it threw some things off. We missed a receiver open here, missed a receiver open there, and before you know it, it's 3rd and 8, and we're praying on 3rd down and we get it, and nope, incomplete pass, got to punt it. I told y'all I wasn't going to mention Cam Ward again, but I'm sorry. At the beginning of this year, I said if we had Cam Ward as our quarterback, I would almost guarantee a national championship. That's what I was saying. And you see what I was talking about. All right. Let me go through. I'm going to run through some of these plays real quick. I don't care to be on here too much longer, y'all. I'm not going to lie. I don't care to be on here too much longer. So let me run through some of the plays. The first thing I typed on here was sleepwalking. Uh-oh. That's what I typed. I was concerned because our offense, first because our defense just looked like they weren't serious, weren't prepared. We get out there on offense, penalties, looking unprepared again. I'll tell you, like I was concerned from this play when our guy, I can't think of who it was, when Louisville had the ball and they did that stupid fake field goal, and our guy tackled him just before the touchdown line. He gets up celebrating as if he just stopped him from scoring, I guess he figured it was a turnover on downs because he thought he had to be in the end zone. When I saw that, I was like, I don't think this team is prepared because it feels like they should have known it was 4th and 2, not 4th and goal. Like the whole defense was hyped, jumping up and down. Like we stopped him, it's our ball. And I'm like, nah, bro, it's first and goal from like the 1. So like, stop celebrating. That was my first thought of like, we might not be prepared for this game. That was my first thought. Okay. That long pass to Tony. There's a lot of air under that pass. Whole lot of air. And I know that's how Carson Beck likes to throw his deep balls, but I can tell y'all right now, if he does play in the NFL, which I'm not sure if he will, I'm not sure if he won't. I don't know what he's going to do. I kind of think he'll get in the league, but not play very long. I don't see him starting in the NFL. I'll tell you that for sure. But he likes to throw with a lot of air under the ball, and that will not work in the NFL. It just won't. People get to those balls. These corners will get to that pass. It will not work in the NFL. So the next thing I wrote out was Fletcher would have fumbled on that first touchdown last year. So the first touchdown that we got, if you go back and look at it, which maybe y'all won't go back and look, I don't think I'm going to watch this game again either, to be honest. I think I'm going to trash this game. But if you go and look at the touchdown that Mark Fletcher scored, he would have fumbled that last year, man. This year, he is running the ball and protecting it extremely well, and I appreciate that. Last year and the year before, I complained about him running with the ball all loose, way out like crazy in the middle of traffic. This year, he seems like he's got that figured out, so that is wonderful. And then I typed poor tackling in the first quarter. That unfortunately ended up being a theme of this game. Did y'all notice how bad we tackled today? Like, just go and look at what's his name? I can't think of his name. Number 0 for the Cardinals. The receiver they got. He's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. He's pretty good. But if you go look at his touchdown, it's like, are y'all not going to tackle him? He caught the ball, and I think he broke 3 or 4 arm tackles in that one play and scored a touchdown. And people just chasing behind him. It looked a lot like our infamous defense from last year. It looked a lot like that. Scary, man. Scary hours when I saw that. I'm like, yikes. So moving on to the second quarter. The interception that Carson Beck threw, I think it was his second one. I think it was his second interception that he threw. He threw the ball way up in the air again. And if you go and look at that, I actually believe that was pass interference. If you go and look, Malachi Tony is running, about to catch the ball, and the defender just grabbed his arm with two hands. So Malachi Tony, when he grabbed his arm came down. He could not get back up to catch the ball, and then the other guy ended up intercepting it. So if you go and look at that replay, it's clear pass interference. The referee just didn't see it. It's unfortunate. Keontae Scott sack, and that was a time where we got a sack, and it ended up being like 3rd and 18, and I'm like, come on, y'all, we have to get off the field. We're down 14-7. We got to get off the field, or this is going to be one of those huge plays. If we lose, I'll go back and say that's probably why we ended up. That's a huge part of why we lost. We ended up getting off the field that play, that possession, which is nice. I also got to say this. There's a lot of really good players on this team, but I finally figured out who my favorite player is, and my favorite player is Keontae Scott. Favorite player on this team. I love Ruben Bain. I love Mesidor. I like Jordan Lyle quite a bit. I love Malachi Tony, but my favorite player is Keontae Scott. I love the way he plays that nickel. He is exceptional. And if he's not in the NFL next year, people are tripping. He has to be in the NFL next year. The defense, this is the next thing I typed in, was the defense looked confused a lot pre-snap. Pre-snap, I saw a few times in the first half where the defense is like a defender is looking away from the quarterback and he's looking to the sideline, like doing some kind of hand motion, and the ball gets snapped while he's looking at the sideline. I kept seeing that. Or I would see Ruben Bain get out of his stance and turn at his safety and try to say something to him, and then the ball snapped. I'm like, come on, y'all. Like, what's happening? Like that kept happening throughout that game. Let me know in the comment section if y'all noticed that too. I don't know what was going on pre-snap on our defense, but we just seemed like we were never. It just seemed like we were not nearly as ready as we typically are, which is really concerning coming out of a bye week. You just wouldn't expect to see that. The next thing I typed out was Ruben Bain stops a screen pass. This is right towards the end of the second quarter. This is part of what makes Ruben Bain special, if you ask me. He doesn't just get to the quarterback, but he plays football beyond that. So once the quarterback gets the ball out of his hand, Ruben Bain starts to look around and see what else he can wreak havoc on. And in this play, he started to, I think it was like 3rd and 15, something like that. And he starts to rush up the field to get to the quarterback. And he saw that the offensive lineman was letting him go. So Ruben Bain, being a smart defensive player, he stopped rushing the quarterback and started looking around to see what was happening around him. He saw, I think it was either a receiver or a running back. I forgot who the screen pass was for. He saw him catch the ball and just deleted him, basically. Deleted him. So that is part of what makes Ruben Bain impressive. This one was tough. So Malachi Tony's fair catch. That was tough because it looked like he had a lane to score a touchdown. Looked like he had a lane. He caught it, made a couple of guys miss, and then it looked like he had a wide open lane to score Devin Hester for us. And they said he caught a fair catch. To be honest with y'all, I don't know. It looked like maybe he did one of these to the side. So he was either trying to get momentum to come up to the ball, to get up there to catch it, or he threw a quick fair catch. I don't know what he was doing, but that play sucked, because I'm telling y'all, if they didn't blow that whistle, that was a touchdown. I'm telling you, touchdown. The next thing I wrote out was be opportunistic. Mainly O.J. Frederick. So he started off, I wouldn't say shaky. He had a tough matchup, y'all. Tough matchup. That fool can play some football. That receiver's pretty good, I'm telling you. He is definitely NFL receiver. And O.J. Frederick started off a little shaky on him, but he had an opportunity for at least 3 interceptions in this game, y'all. At least 3. And he just wasn't opportunistic enough to come down with it, which sucks because we needed some of those, man. We needed some of those quick turnarounds. We just didn't get them. Third quarter, The way Louisville was playing with so much desperation, I'm telling y'all, I honestly was thinking that they were going to do an onside kick to start the second half. I was like, they're going to kick an onside kick. They went for a fake field goal. They're doing all kind of stuff. So I thought they probably going to do an onside kick, but they didn't. Ended up kicking it off, and I think we ended up doing like a 3-and-out, which I was like, Lord have mercy. Next thing I wrote out was poor tackling. It was just more bad tackling. And this time, it seems so reminiscent of last year because our players were just running out of control at the guy with the ball and just out of control, just diving at it, but not even slowing up the ball carrier at all. That I think it was the second touchdown, maybe the first touchdown. I forget which touchdown it was. We had two safeties that took horrible angles. It was the first touchdown. Two safeties that took just horrible angles on that touchdown and ended up chasing behind him instead of just cutting them off. I don't know. Yeah, we need to pray that this does not snowball and turn into last year's defense. If you remember, the first game of last year, our defense looked really good. I think people forget that. Against Florida, our defense looked like world beaters. And then all of a sudden, it just turned to trash on us. So hopefully, prayerfully, they can get this thing turned around and not have a repeat as far as the tackling goes. Because, yeah, bad tackling was a fact the whole game. They seem to have gotten their reads and all that stuff under control the second half, but as far as the tackling goes, it was still bad. First, second, third, and fourth quarter. So, I almost don't even want to do it. I almost want to call it quits. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, but I'm gonna keep on. I'm gonna go all the way through this, man. I said we have 10 points, but it feel like we can get whatever we want. So this is pretty deep into the third quarter. I still stand by that, man. It looked like we should have been able to score 40-something points on this defense. That's what it feels like. But it was just like one errant throw, one missed receiver, one drop pass, getting behind the sticks. And then they knew we were going to throw it and we couldn't complete it. We could not convert it. Just it consistently happened. When we look at our offense from last year, and I've said this before, our offense last year, I really felt like we could score on any play. Any play. So 2nd and 14 did not bother me. I was like, yeah, we'll probably get this first down, but we might even score a touchdown on this play. Like that's what I thought all of last year. Now, if we do a run or if we get sacked on first down and it's 2nd and 13, 2nd and 14, I'm like, oh man, that's just how I feel about this offense. I know people are saying it's more balanced, which you got to respect that, I guess. But it just doesn't seem like I don't have as much confidence, nearly as much confidence as I did last year in us getting a 1st and 20. I'm telling you, last year's 1st and 20, I felt more confident than this year's 1st and 10. I swear to you. I'm more confident last year with 1st and 20 than I am this year at 1st and 10. No joke. Because everything was open. Everything. The run play was open. The screen play was open. Throwing it over the top was open. Throwing it between the safeties 15 yards down the field was open. A shallow cross. It was all open last year. Extending the play last year was open and getting a deep ball over the top. This year, I just feel like OC Dimples is like, man, we got to keep Carson on schedule. We better not throw it too far down over the middle. Like, we better not do that. Like, he's just playing it really cautiously, which I'm telling y'all, I understand. I understand it. And I'm going to say this again. A lot of y'all were annoyed at me not last year, a couple of years ago when Tyler Van Dyke was in the middle of throwing a bunch of interceptions. He was on a streak where he was throwing the ball to the other team when he was throwing to us. And people were saying, Shannon Dawson doesn't know what he's doing. He needs to be done in this offensive coordinator position. And I was telling y'all, you cannot blame the man. His quarterback is throwing the ball to the other team consistently. What do you want him to do? Do you want him to throw it 15-yard post down the middle between the safeties? I wouldn't call it either. You got to call safe plays when your quarterback is shaky. Our quarterback was shaky when Tyler Van Dyke was there, and our quarterback was extremely shaky today. So that's why the play calling looked a little different than it looked last year or in the first game this year. It looked a little different. It's the reason behind that. Um, okay, I'm gonna skip a few things. I'm about to be. I'm gonna go upstairs and just lay down and have my wife rub my head. Maybe hell, rub my, I can go to sleep. Um, Poor tackling on Brown touchdown. That's the first thing I have in the fourth quarter. The next thing I have is roughing the quarterback with the question mark after it. I did not see roughing the quarterback on that play when Carson Beck threw it and they called a roughing the quarterback. He threw an interception on that play too. That little that little segment there I'm telling y'all, it reminded me so much of Tyler Van Dyke as our quarterback. That little it was a window of like 6 plays where he was shot. Carson Beck was shot. And it reminded me so much. Excuse me, I got something in my eye. Goodness gracious. It reminded me so much of those Tyler Van Dyke years. Because one play he dropped back, and if I don't remember how much time was left. I don't remember any of that, but I can tell you it was during the time when he threw the ball, he threw an interception, but they gave him the ball back because they said roughing the passer, which maybe the guy who tackled him, his helmet hit Carson Beck's helmet. Maybe. So he threw the interception, got the ball back. He looked extremely shaky when he threw the interception. Just go look at his feet. He was back there dancing, didn't know what to do, and just threw it. Then he dropped back either before or after that play and threw the ball like 15 yards out of bounds when we had Mark Fletcher running like a little screen pass. He just threw it 15 yards out of bounds because he was seeing ghosts. That segment, there was like 6 plays throughout that time period right there where I was like, he is falling apart. I could see it. His body language was terrible. He looked scared. He didn't know he looked like he didn't know what his second read was on any play. He looked like he was terrified to throw it across the middle. It was just, he was shot. And I'm like, I hope OC Dimple's got some plays over there that's going to bail him out, which at the beginning of the fourth quarter, that's what they ended up relying on. Like, let's just go ahead and throw some screen passes. Let's not even have him look down the field. Let's try to get his confidence back. Unfortunately, it just didn't work. It almost did, but it did not. And that's what I typed. I said, Beck is seeing ghosts with all caps. That's when we ended up being down by 11 points. And I'm like, okay. Right then I said, this game's probably over. So I got up, left the room, went talked to my wife. And I said, well, looks like we done lost this game. She's like, what? They lost? I said, yeah. She's like, well, how much time is left? About 7 minutes. Quarterback just threw an interception. Doesn't look good. She's like, oh, that's. And then she's like, well, there's still time. I said, nah, I think I'm about to go ahead and concede and get ready to do my YouTube video. Right when I went back into the room, Keontae Scott forced the fumble. And I'm screaming, go, 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 go. Like we all were doing. Probably throwing hats and throwing pillows and punching tables, doing all this stuff. Because we just threw an interception. Next thing you know, we screaming, go, go, go. So that was nice. And I'm thinking we're going to pull the crazy upset. Malachi Tony scores a touchdown. And immediately right after that, I type, oh, no, I'm sorry. Malachi Tony scores a touchdown. Then Malachi Tony throws the 2-point conversion. Right after that, I asked myself, are we in the middle of the best freshman season of all time for the Hurricanes? Of all time? I know a lot of y'all have been fans before me. I became a fan in 2002. So that's one thing I would like for y'all to answer in the comment section. Can you think of any freshman that has had, or no, let me say it this way. Do you think that Malachi Tony is in the middle of the best freshman season of all time for the Hurricanes? To me, it looks like it's going to be yes. He's through 6 games so far. It looks like he's the best player on our offense. I don't know how you can ask that of a freshman, But if there's a 3rd and 6, we're looking at Malachi Tony. If it's a 1st and 10, we got to have a touchdown, we're going to hand the ball to Malachi Tony. If it's a 2-point conversion, give the ball to Tony, have him throw it. Like, he is the best player on our offense, I think. Can y'all think of a time where you had a player, freshman, who's this good on a team that's as good as the Hurricanes are? Maybe you have a freshman that comes in and he's the best player on the team, but your team sucks. But this team is really good and he's the best player on the offense. So, I don't know, man. I believe that he's the best. I think that he's in the middle of the best freshman season that we've ever seen for the Hurricanes. If I'm wrong, let me know who you think had a better season, or who do you think Malachi Tony will end up finishing this season just behind as the best freshman season. And then the last thing I typed in was Keontae Scott with another tackle for loss. Keontae Scott looks really good, y'all. He looks really good. Just look at it. We had 9 tackles total, 8 solo, and 3 tackles for loss and a sack. He's getting busy, man. He's super nosy as a football player. He always getting into the run game. He's staying in those pass coverage. He's staying in like the screen passes, always nosing into that. I thought Zachariah Poyser played pretty well. I thought Mo Teray played pretty well, but Saint played well. I didn't see much from Mesidor. He was hurt, coming on and off. OJ Frederick, I thought, played okay, but I think he left a lot on the field. And then what a lot of people are saying is the best player in football, Ruben Bain, he ended up with 1 tackle. I don't really blame him, to be honest with you, because I just think the coach took him out of the game. Not our coach, but the other coach. He just said, I'm not going to let Ruben Bain beat us. I'm going to throw the ball quick, just quick game. The entire football game is going to be nothing but quick game. That's all we're doing. Not going to give you a chance to come and sack us. So, all right. I made it through this list, y'all. So please do like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Please give me a like for at least just making it through the video, because I'm telling you, I was about to mail it in. But as they say, if you pound your chest in a win, you should come out here and pound your chest in a loss. So here I am. I still believe in these Hurricanes. I still think this is one of the best teams in the country. It did shock me, because I honestly figured the only type of team, maybe it's still true, I figured the only type of team that could beat us is somebody that does a bunch of gimmicky stuff. That's what I figured. I figured you got to have a quarterback that's going to run all over the field, do a bunch of fake handoffs and all that, just confusing and tricking people. That's what I thought would beat us. So the fact that a team that mostly played straight up football, like the first quarter, maybe they was doing a bunch of janky, weird, tricky, gimmicky stuff, sure. But 3 out of 4 quarters, they just line up and play regular old football, and they beat us. I did not see that coming. I didn't think if Ohio State played us and they played straight up football, I felt like we had the odds of beating them. If Oregon played straight up football and not doing a bunch of handoffs and having the quarterback running all over the place, I didn't see them beating us. So the fact that Louisville came out and they didn't do a bunch of tricks and gimmicks and all that stuff, and they just played straight drop back pass, hand the ball off football and beat us, all you say is take your hat off to them, man. I hate it. I hate that they beat us. Again, I don't like the coach very much, because I feel like he gets up for these games and does all, like, he coaches totally different against these top teams than he does everybody else, and that's why they haven't won much. But anyway, I guess I can't talk either. I guess I can't talk too, so I can't talk either. So anyway, let me go ahead and get out of here, man. Thanks for watching the video. We're all right. Do not jump off of that bridge, y'all. Come on down. Come off of that bridge. Don't jump. Don't do it. Taking my stuff off. Oh my gosh. I can't believe they don't beat us. All right. I'm out. God bless. Peace.